Maybe you've changed your diet or you started exercising and you've even lost 5 or 10 pounds, but you have been stuck at the same weight for weeks, months, or years. Today on the show, I'm going to share with you my weight loss journey and the 3 reasons why you may be stuck at your current weight. My weight loss journey started back in 2022 when I weighed 195 pounds. I had just finished running my second official marathon ever in Honolulu, Hawaii. And while I was ecstatic to have done such an amazing feat, especially after being told at the age of 40 that I would never be a runner, I didn't realize how overweight I was until my yearly doctor's checkup. I had been eating relatively healthy, minus the quarter pounders after my marathon. I had been running 30 to 40 miles per week. And I remember getting on the scale and seeing 195 pounds of weight. And I was blown away. I asked, well, I'm working out. How did I gain weight? I actually gained weight since the first marathon I had ever ran. This is reason number 1 why you're stuck at the same weight. You're training harder, but also eating more. And this has happened throughout my life, where I'm working out more, so I should be able to eat whatever I want, right? You may even find people in your life saying this to you. Oh, you're a runner now? You must be able to eat whatever you want. You can eat the cookies because you do CrossFit now. Or you can eat the extra pizza slices because you go to HIIT classes now. Because you ride your bike. What happens is we start using working out as an excuse to eat whatever we want. This is exactly what I did after I finished my first official marathon. I said to myself, I'm running 20 miles, 25 miles, 40 miles a week. Marathons every couple of months. I should be able to eat as much as I want. I was actually eating relatively healthy at the time because me and my fiance, we like to eat at home. And we typically eat pretty healthy at home. That brings me to the second biggest reason why you are stuck at your weight. You changed your diet, you went on keto, Whole30, cut out processed foods, maybe became a vegetarian, vegan, pescatarian. Friends and the internet told you that by making this dietary change, you would lose weight. And you probably lost some weight at the start of changing your diet. I know when we started eating primarily vegetarian, about 80 to 90% of our foods, and adding fish, chicken, and pork for the other 10 to 20%, I lost weight. But eventually, I not only stopped losing weight, I started gaining weight. You can change your diet, and I highly recommend that if you haven't already, you should look into changing your diet to at least eliminate as many processed foods as possible and focus more on eating whole foods, whole fruits, whole vegetables, very high quality proteins. But this will not cause you to lose the weight that you want because you can change your diet, but not your numbers. What does this mean? It doesn't matter from a weight loss perspective if you're eating 2,500 calories of cake or vegetables. 2,500 calories is 2,500 calories. This is the same no matter how you look at it. So if you change your diet and you're on keto now, but you're eating as many or more calories than before, at some point you're going to plateau. Even if the diet has started to change your metabolism, 5 to 10, even more pounds dropped when you switch diets. But eventually the math is going to catch up to you and you're either going to plateau or start gaining weight back. So what you need to do is figure out for your body how many calories you need per day. How many calories do you burn per day? And you can do this by asking generative AI, your favorite platform, putting in your weight, your height, your gender, and you can come up with a pretty basic idea of how many calories you burn per day. And what you want to do is come up with a number. For me, it's around 1600. So if I just lay in bed all day, my body needs 1600 calories to function. As of recording this episode, I'm 34 years old. I weigh 165 pounds, and I'm a male. I work out a lot, but depending on the day, I'm going to burn a different amount of calories. So once you come up with your baseline of, okay, this is how many calories if I did nothing today, this is how many calories I'm going to burn. Now you need to add how many calories you burn from these activities. So for me, on a day where I run, typically 2 to 3 miles, let's say 2 miles. In a 2-mile run, maybe I'm burning somewhere between 200 and 400 calories. I'm going to say 300. So we'll add 300. Now, I also stack lifting for 45 minutes, burning another 300 calories. So that means I have 2,200 calories that I can ingest today, and my weight will stay the same. This is where the numbers are so important. So if you want to continue to lose weight, what should you do? You should eat less calories than you are burning. And I know what you're thinking. Well, you know what I'm going to do, Johnny? I'm just not going to eat for 3 days. Or I'm going to only eat 1,000 calories a day. I highly recommend that you don't do that. And when you're looking at this in general, I highly recommend that you talk to your healthcare professional to really get their guidance on what a safe amount of weight in a week to lose is. I typically don't think you should try and lose more than 1 pound per week. And just so you know, 1 pound equals 3,500 calories. So if 1 pound equals 3,500 calories, this means that if we divide this by 7, we have 500 calories. 500 calories per day is the deficit we need to create in order to lose 1 pound a week. You may be thinking, oh wow, this is all I needed to hear today to get past this plateau that I'm having. Because yeah, you changed your diet, but if you aren't creating a deficit, then you're not going to lose any more weight. That means that I would need to eat max 1,700 calories on a day where I do a 2 to 3 mile run and a 45-minute lifting workout. What I invite you to do is, once again, figure out what your baseline calories that your body needs. And you may think, oh, well, it's 2,000 calories. It's not, depending on your age, your gender, your weight. There's other metrics as well. This is an approximate, which is why you also need to weigh yourself every week to see if you're going up or down in weight. That's how you check if your math is right. If your math is right, you should be losing weight. If your math is wrong, then you're going to stay the same or you're going to gain weight, which means that your estimates for how many calories you're burning and how many calories you're eating may be incorrect. Now, I know you may be thinking, well, if it's just as simple as math, then I'm gonna just eat 1,700 calories worth of donuts and burn 2,200 calories. Technically, you could do that. I'm not saying you shouldn't have a day now and then where you do treat yourself. I definitely do that. But when we're talking about overall metabolic health, it is important to not only harness the power of math and your numbers, but also pair that with a very healthy diet with whole foods, high quality protein sources, etc. And number 3, you are relying on willpower instead of your environment. Billionaire longevity expert Brian Johnson would say, you aren't 100% at fault for your unhealthy habits. But this doesn't mean that you don't have the decision-making ability to change your unhealthy habits. Brian says that in America, you have to drive by 20 plus fast food restaurants on any given day. When you are watching TV and you are being marketed at with all these unhealthy processed foods that you can get at the store, that you can get delivered to your house. All of this is part of your environment. You could master the first two reasons why you are plateauing with your weight. You could train harder and not eat as much. You can change your diet and master your numbers. But if you don't change your environment or make choices to change what you experience, you may lose weight for a while. You're almost guaranteed to gain it back. Because willpower isn't enough. There's an amazing book called Willpower Doesn't Work by Dr. Benjamin Hardy, where he has done a deep dive into researching this subject. His data has shown that willpower in a less than ideal environment will eventually fail. You can start with willpower, changing your diet, but if you constantly have cookies, chips, pizza laying around the house, you're eventually going to eat these things. If you are constantly on social media being marketed at with all these things, then eventually you're going to eat these things. So what I recommend to you is ask yourself, how can you change your environment little by little? It could be as simple as using your phone less. It could be as simple as watching less TV or no longer watching TV with ads, with advertisements. It could be changing the news or media you ingest. It could be taking different routes to and from work and other places that you go so that you aren't driving by all these fast food places. It could be hanging out with people who promote a healthy environment instead of those that want to eat fast food, that want to drink, that want to do these unhealthy things. So you have a choice of how you interact with your environment. Now you may say, John, I'm kind of stuck in the environment that I'm in. I got a comment recently on a episode about how I didn't drink for 14 months and then I had my first drink and here's what happened. This guy was saying, what if I am forced to live in the city? I'm in downtown, I'm in the city, and really the lifestyle of the city isn't going on hikes. He didn't have a car, so he's not going to get out of the city very much. He doesn't know many people in the city, so what's the best way to socialize? Well, I understand that your circumstance may cause you to not be able to make a huge environmental shift. Well, in that case, that's where taking incremental steps and controlling what you can and comes in handy. So yes, you may be living in a downtown where you can't change your environment much, but what if you decided to use social media less? This could help you. What if instead of your social life being restaurants and bars, you go to group fitness classes? What if instead of decompressing by watching TV, you put yourself in a place where you don't have to watch ads and you watch higher quality shows that promote health and wellness, positivity in your mind? So you can make changes even if you can't change your environment. After finding out I was about 30 to 40 pounds overweight and realizing that these three reasons that I shared with you today that were holding me back from not only losing weight, but stopping the gain, I integrated the 3 pillars of healthy living that I share with you in my Healthy Living Guide: movement, tracking, and accountability. As you know, I was already moving. I was running about 30 to 40 miles per week. Even though movement has an amazing impact not only in your immediate life, but as you get older, consistent movement decreases all-cause mortality rates by 35%. So no matter what, you need to integrate movement into your life. But if you integrate movement alone without tracking, knowing your numbers, you could gain 20 or 30 pounds without even knowing it. Movement plus tracking. The number 3 hits on the environmental part of this, accountability. When you start putting yourself in situations and interacting with people who keep you accountable, not only as someone that you have to share your journey with, but they share their journey with you. This is how you create your environment. So we have movement, we have tracking, we have accountability. When you put all 3 of these together, then you potentially could get the same results that I have gotten by losing 30 pounds in 90 days by implementing these 3 things into my life. And that was back in 2022. We're about to go into 2026. I've kept the weight off. And now I have control of my weight. When I'm racing, I get below 160 pounds. When I'm not racing, around 165 pounds. I know how to get my weight where I want it because of the 3 pillars of healthy living. And you can take control of your weight as well. Stop getting stuck at a weight and pick the weight you want to be at and take control of your life. I'll see you in the next episode.